Alex never thought his life on the Academy space station would change much. He was an ordinary student from Earth, surrounded by advanced species from different corners of the galaxy. Every year, new students arrived, and humans were usually paired with someone from another world. The administration believed it helped everyone learn tolerance and respect. Alex did not mind, but he had hoped for another human roommate this year. Instead, when the door slid open on the first day, he found her standing there, tall, graceful, with pale silver eyes that seemed to shine in the dim light. Her name was Kalira. She belonged to a species most humans had only read about in lessons. They were known for their logic, discipline, and strange coldness. People said they never smiled, never cried, and never loved. They believed in survival, strength, and knowledge. Alex had heard whispers in the cafeteria before she even entered the room. "They don't feel like us," another human had said. "Don't expect warmth from her kind. They only see numbers and outcomes." At first, Alex tried to stay polite but distant. He introduced himself and gave a small wave. Kalira simply nodded. Her movements were precise, almost mechanical, as if she had calculated each step. She placed her belongings in perfect order, adjusting them until they lined up straight. Alex pretended not to stare, but inside he wondered how he would survive the year living with someone so different. That evening, while Alex worked on his datapad, Kalira sat silently at the desk opposite him. He felt her gaze more than once, sharp and observant. Finally, she spoke in a calm, even voice. "You are human. I have studied your history." Alex chuckled nervously. "Yeah, and you're?" "Not." She tilted her head. "No, I am of the Ilyari." Then she fell silent again, as if that single fact explained everything. For the next few days, their lives moved in quiet patterns. Alex went to his classes, Kalira to hers. They rarely spoke beyond basic greetings. Yet small things began to change. When Alex left his books scattered on the table, she carefully stacked them in neat piles. When he returned late from training, he found a glass of water waiting at his desk. He never asked if it was from her, but he knew. One night, unable to sleep, Alex hummed a soft tune his grandmother had once sung to him. The melody was simple, almost childish. To his surprise, Kalira looked up from her notes. "That sound, it is music?" she asked. "Yeah," Alex said, embarrassed. "Humans sing when they're bored or when they want to feel better." She was quiet for a long moment. Then, in a voice softer than before, she said, "Strange. It makes my chest feel different." Alex blinked. "Like emotions?" Her silver eyes studied him carefully. "Perhaps. But my people do not accept emotions. They believe feelings cloud judgment." He shrugged. "Maybe. But sometimes feelings guide us better than logic." That was the first time he saw her expression change ever so slightly. It was not a smile, not really, but her lips curved in the smallest way before she looked away. The academy halls were always filled with chatter, and soon Alex noticed the other students watching them. Humans and aliens alike whispered when Kalira walked by his side. Some said she was wasting time with him, others said she was studying him like a specimen. Alex did not know what to believe. But he knew one thing. Every night they talked, she grew a little more curious. She asked about human food, human jokes, and even human dreams. Sometimes she repeated his words slowly, testing how they sounded on her tongue. Alex found himself laughing more often, though she rarely laughed with him. Still, her silence no longer felt cold. One evening, a sudden alarm echoed through the station. Red lights flashed, and a voice announced an incoming asteroid passing dangerously close. Students hurried to the shelters. Alex stumbled in panic, but Kalira remained calm, guiding him through the crowded corridors. When the impact shook the walls, he almost fell. Kalira caught his arm firmly, steadying him with surprising strength. Inside the shelter, they sat close as the room trembled. For the first time, Alex saw something different in her eyes, not just logic, but concern. When a loud crash sounded above them, she shifted slightly, placing herself between him and the shaking ceiling. After it was over, Alex laughed nervously. "Guess that was exciting, huh?" Kalira did not answer. Instead, she kept her eyes fixed on him, as if calculating something she could not understand. Finally, she whispered, "I was not supposed to care if you were safe, but I did." Alex stared at her, unable to respond. The words hung in the air like a secret neither of them knew how to explain. From that day forward, Alex could not see her the same way. She was not just a logical alien with silver eyes. She was someone who, despite what the galaxy said, might be learning what it meant to feel. Days passed after the asteroid scare, but Alex could not forget the way Kalira had stood in front of him in the shelter. It replayed in his mind again and again. She had said she was not supposed to care, yet she had. He wanted to ask her what she meant, but every time he opened his mouth, he lost the courage. She still behaved in her usual calm, measured way, but something about her eyes seemed different now. Kalira began asking more questions than before. She wanted to know about human families, about why humans celebrated birthdays, and about why humans sometimes gave flowers to each other for no reason. Alex tried to explain, though he laughed at his own clumsy words. "It's just how we show that someone matters," he said. Kalira nodded but looked deep in thought, as if she were processing an equation that refused to balance. One evening, when Alex returned to the dorm after a long day of classes, he found Kalira sitting by the window. The stars outside reflected in her silver eyes. She did not turn when he entered but spoke quietly. "Your music, can you do it again?" Alex blinked in surprise. "You mean sing?" "Yes, sing," so he did. His voice was not perfect, but he sang a simple song, a tune about the stars and home. Kalira listened without moving. When he finished, silence filled the room. Then she said softly, "When you make that sound, I feel unsteady. It is not unpleasant. It is confusing." Alex grinned. "That's emotions for you. They're messy." The following days made their bond grow stronger, though neither spoke of it openly. They shared meals more often, Kalira even trying some human food despite her dislike for strong flavors. She wrinkled her nose at spicy dishes, which made Alex laugh, and though she did not laugh back, she seemed to study his smile as if trying to copy it. But life on the station was not only about studies and small moments. Whispers of conflict grew louder. The galaxy was not at peace. Kalira's people, the Ilyari, were locked in uneasy relations with another alien faction known for aggression. The academy tried to keep politics away, but rumors spread like fire among the students. Humans were advised to stay neutral. Still, tension seeped into the halls. One afternoon, Alex overheard a group of alien students whispering near the cafeteria. "The Ilyari pretend they are cold, but in truth, they will abandon anyone if logic demands it," one said. "If danger comes, don't trust them." Alex felt his stomach tighten. He thought of Kalira, of the night she had shielded him. She had not abandoned him then. Still, doubts crept into his mind. Could he truly trust her if real danger came again? That night, Kalira noticed his silence. "Something troubles you," she said. He hesitated. "People talk. They say your kind would leave others behind if it was the logical choice." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "That is what we are taught, but—" She paused, searching for words. "But I do not always agree." Alex looked at her, searching her face for truth. She met his gaze without flinching. There was no answer in her expression, only mystery. The station soon prepared for a joint training exercise, meant to teach students how to handle emergencies together. Teams of mixed species were placed in simulated crises. Alex and Kalira were, of course, assigned together. The simulation began with alarms and flashing lights. They had to guide a group of holographic civilians through smoke-filled corridors. Kalira took the lead, her calm instructions keeping everyone steady. But when part of the floor gave way, Alex nearly slipped into the darkness. Without hesitation, Kalira grabbed his hand, her grip unshakable. The other students watched in silence as she pulled him to safety. "That was not logical," one muttered later. Kalira ignored them, but Alex noticed her hand trembled slightly after she let go. After the exercise ended, Alex walked beside her. "Why do you always catch me?" he asked. She looked at him as if the question itself puzzled her. "Because if you fall, I feel something I cannot explain. It is easier to prevent it." Alex's chest tightened. He wanted to tell her she was learning what humans called care, maybe even affection, but he held the words back. He was not sure if she was ready to hear them. A week later, reality struck harder than any simulation. Late at night, sirens screamed across the station. This time it was not a drill. Hostile ships had entered the system. Students were ordered to shelters once more. Panic filled the halls as people rushed for safety. Alex tried to keep up with the crowd, but in the chaos he was separated, pushed into a side corridor. Smoke filled the air as systems failed. He coughed, searching for a way out. Then through the haze, Kalira appeared. She moved with speed and certainty. finding him as if guided by instinct. "Come," she said, grabbing his arm. They ran together through the trembling corridors, alarms echoing around them. When another explosion shook the floor, Alex stumbled again. Kalira pulled him close, steadying him. He saw fire in her eyes now, not cold logic, but determination. As they reached a sealed door, Alex realized something deep inside him. Whatever the galaxy said about the Iliari, Kalira was different. She was not just acting from reason. She was acting from something stronger, something even she did not fully understand. And for the first time, Alex felt sure of one thing. She would not leave him behind. The space station did not return to peace after the attack alarm. Even though the enemy ships withdrew before reaching close range, fear remained heavy in the air. Rumors spread like shadows in the hallways. Some said the attackers would return soon. Others whispered that spies already walked among the students. No one trusted anyone fully. Alex felt the change in every step he took. Friends who once laughed in the cafeteria now spoke in hushed voices, always glancing over their shoulders. Humans were told again to remain neutral, to stay quiet and not involve themselves in alien conflicts. But Alex could not ignore the tension. He saw it in Kalira's posture too. Her normally calm presence now carried a hidden weight. One evening, Alex and Kalira walked back from class. The corridor was nearly empty, the lights dim. Kalira spoke in a low tone, almost a whisper. "The enemy faction will not stop. They will return. This place is valuable to them." Alex frowned. Then why doesn't anyone do something? Because many believe it is safer to wait, to hope logic will protect them. Her silver eyes hardened. But hope is not a strategy. Her words lingered in Alex's mind all night. He tried to study, but he kept remembering how she had pulled him through the smoke, how she had chosen to find him instead of saving herself. She claimed her people were logical, but Alex had begun to see something else burning quietly inside her. The next day, during training, tensions between the students boiled over. A group of alien students accused Kalira of hiding secrets. They said the Iliari could not be trusted, that when the enemy returned she would betray them all. Alex stood frozen as they surrounded her. Kalira did not flinch, her face calm as stone. "She doesn't care about any of us," one shouted. "Her kind only protects themselves." Alex felt anger rise in his chest. He stepped forward before he could stop himself. "You're wrong. She saved me, twice." The group fell silent for a moment, surprised by his outburst. Alex rarely raised his voice, but now it carried strength he did not know he had. "If she only cared about herself, I'd be gone already. But I'm here. Because of her," the accusers muttered, but backed away, leaving Kalira and Alex alone. She looked at him quietly, as if studying his face for answers she could not find in books. "You did not have to defend me," she said softly. "Yes, I did," Alex replied. "Because you're not what they think you are." For a brief moment, something flickered across her lips. It was not a smile, not fully, but it was closer than before. That night, as they sat in their room, the station trembled again. This time, it was not an exercise. The alarms screamed, red lights flashing across the walls. Voices over the speakers shouted for immediate evacuation to reinforced shelters. Alex's heart pounded as he grabbed his jacket. Kalira was already moving, her eyes sharp, her body tense like a warrior preparing for battle. "Stay close to me," she ordered. The halls filled with panicked students. Some pushed, some screamed, all desperate to reach safety. Alex tried to keep up, but the crowd swallowed him, shoving him back. Kalira fought her way through and pulled him beside her again. Her hand held his wrist firmly, guiding him through the chaos. Then the worst happened. A blast shook the corridor, the lights flickering out. Smoke filled the air, thick and choking. The walls cracked, and a section of the ceiling collapsed behind them, sealing the path they had come from. The crowd scattered in terror, running in every direction. Alex coughed, struggling to breathe. "We're trapped." Kalira scanned the smoke-filled hallway, her sharp eyes finding a narrow maintenance passage on the side. "Not trapped. Follow me." They pushed through the tight space, crawling under pipes and wires. The air was hot, filled with the smell of burning metal. Alex's heart hammered in his chest. Every instinct told him to turn back, but Kalira's calm voice kept him moving. One step at a time. Do not stop. As they emerged from the passage, the sound of footsteps echoed nearby. Shapes moved through the smoke, armed invaders, their weapons glowing faintly. Alex froze, fear gripping him. He was unarmed, helpless. Kalira stepped in front of him without hesitation. She moved like a shadow, her body shielding his. The invaders shouted, raising their weapons. Alex expected her to run, to leave him and save herself. Instead, she stood tall, her silver eyes burning with fire. The invaders sneered. Ilyari? You pretend to be logical, yet you protect a human? How illogical. Kalira did not answer. She raised a broken piece of metal pipe she had grabbed from the ground, holding it like a weapon. Stay behind me, she told Alex. The tension crackled like electricity. Alex's breath caught in his throat. He had never seen her like this, fierce and unyielding. For the first time, he understood something the whispers never could. Kalira was not guided by cold logic now. She was guided by choice. Her choice to stand beside him. The enemy advanced, and Alex's fear deepened. But even in that fear, he felt a strange certainty. She would not let him fall. Not while she still stood. And as the corridor shook with distant explosions, Alex realized the truth. No matter what the galaxy said about her kind, Kalira was different. She was more than logic. She was becoming something else, something greater. She was proving that even among the stars, where trust was fragile and survival was everything, bonds could still be stronger than fear. The corridor echoed with heavy footsteps as the invaders advanced. Smoke curled through the air, and the distant boom of explosions shook the walls. Alex stood frozen, but Kalira did not hesitate. She stepped forward, her body tense, holding the broken pipe like it was a blade. Stay close, she said firmly. The first attacker lunged. Kalira moved with sharp precision, sidestepping and striking with the pipe. The blow landed against the invader's shoulder, forcing him back. Another raised his weapon, but she shoved Alex aside and swung again, deflecting the aim just in time. Sparks flew as the shot hit the wall. Alex scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding. He had never seen her fight before, but it was like watching a storm, graceful and terrifying at once. Every move was calculated, yet filled with something more, something raw. Run, she shouted, but Alex could not leave her. He hovered at the edge, trying to stay low as she fought. Each strike, each dodge was meant to keep the attackers away from him. She was faster than he imagined, but there were too many. More footsteps approached. Reinforcements. Kalira's eyes flicked down the corridor. She knew they would be surrounded soon. She grabbed Alex's arm and pulled him toward another maintenance hatch. We cannot fight them all. This way. They ducked into the narrow tunnel, crawling through darkness lit only by the faint glow of emergency strips. The sounds of pursuit followed, echoing through the metal walls. Alex's breath came fast, his palms sweaty as he struggled to keep up. Finally, they emerged into a storage bay. Crates were stacked high, shadows stretching across the room. Kalira pulled him behind one, listening carefully. The invaders' voices grew closer. They're searching for us, Alex whispered. Yes, she replied. Her voice was steady, but Alex could see the faint tremor in her hands. She was injured, a thin line of blood running down her arm. She did not mention it, but Alex noticed. Why are you doing this? He asked suddenly, his voice breaking the silence. You could escape without me. Everyone says your people don't care about others. So why me? Kalira's silver eyes locked onto his. For a long moment she said nothing. Then in a quiet voice she answered, I do not know. Logic tells me to run, but when I look at you, something inside me refuses. I cannot explain it. I only know I must keep you safe. Alex's chest tightened. The words hung in the air heavier than the smoke outside. He wanted to say something, to thank her, but the pounding of boots interrupted. The invaders entered the storage bay. Kalira grabbed his hand, pulling him deeper into the maze of crates. They moved silently, trying to stay hidden, but one of the enemies spotted movement and shouted. Shots rang out, sparks bursting from metal. Go! Kalira pushed Alex toward a side door while she turned to block their pursuers. She swung the pipe again, buying him time. Alex stopped in the doorway, torn between fear and loyalty. Kalira, come on! She glanced back, her expression fierce. Move, Alex! He hesitated, then forced himself through the door, heart hammering. A moment later, she followed, slamming the door shut behind them. They ran through winding corridors, alarms screaming all around. The station felt like a maze on fire, every turn more dangerous than the last. At last, they reached a collapsed section of hallway. Debris blocked the way, metal beams twisted and broken. Alex groaned in despair. It's blocked. Kalira dropped the pipe and set her hands against the heavy metal. Her muscles strained as she tried to lift it. Sparks fell and her body shook from the effort. Alex rushed to help, pushing with all his strength. Together, slowly, they managed to shift the beam enough to crawl through. On the other side, Alex collapsed against the wall, gasping for breath. Kalira's arm was bleeding heavily now, but she did not complain. She only checked to make sure he was unharmed. "You're hurt," Alex said, his voice tight. "It does not matter," she replied simply. "You are alive." Alex stared at her, stunned. For a moment, the world around them, the alarms, the smoke, the danger faded away. He saw her not as the cold, logical Ilyari the galaxy believed her to be, but as someone willing to risk everything for him. Before he could speak, the sound of distant explosions shook the floor again. Kalira stood, pulling him to his feet. "We must keep moving. Safety is near." They pushed forward, navigating broken corridors and half-lit passages. Every step was a struggle, but Alex stayed close to her side. Each time he stumbled, she caught him. Each time fear gripped him, she whispered calm words that gave him strength. Finally, they reached a reinforced shelter. The door opened, revealing frightened students and staff inside. Gasps echoed as they saw Kalira, covered in cuts, guiding Alex in. "She saved me," Alex told them firmly, before anyone could speak. "She fought for me." The others stared in silence, their disbelief clear. The Ilyari were not supposed to feel loyalty or compassion, yet here she was, proving them all wrong. Kalira ignored their stares. She simply sat beside Alex, her breathing steady but her body trembling from exhaustion. Alex wanted to reach for her hand, to thank her again, but he knew words might not be enough. As the shelter doors sealed shut and the station shook from distant battle, Alex realized something deep inside him. Kalira was changing. Or maybe she had always been different and no one had seen it before. Either way, he knew one thing for certain. She would never leave him behind. And he would never leave her. The shelter was filled with tense silence. Dozens of students huddled together, whispering in fear while the station shook above them. Alex sat against the wall, his chest rising and falling as he tried to calm his racing heart. Beside him, Kalira leaned back, her silver eyes closed, her injured arm wrapped in a cloth another student had given her. Even wounded, she seemed steady, her breathing controlled, her presence strangely reassuring. Alex could not stop thinking about what had just happened. He had seen her fight, seen her bleed, and seen her refuse to leave him behind when every logical reason said she should. Her people claimed not to feel emotions, but Alex had no doubt now. She felt something powerful enough to make her risk everything. The others in the shelter did not see it the same way. Murmurs spread through the room. "Why would an Ilyari defend a human?" One alien whispered. "It makes no sense." "She must have some secret reason," another said. Alex clenched his fists. He wanted to shout at them, to tell them they were wrong, but he stayed quiet, his eyes fixed on Kalira. She seemed unaware of the whispers, or perhaps she simply ignored them. Hours passed. The shaking of the station grew quieter. Finally, the alarm voice announced that the enemy had retreated. Relief washed through the shelter, but fear still lingered. No one knew if the attackers would return. When the doors opened, students rushed out, eager to see what damage had been done. Alex followed slowly, Kalira at his side. The station looked wounded. Corridors were scorched, walls cracked, and smoke still curled from broken panels. The academy had survived, but just barely. Later that evening, Alex and Kalira returned to their room. The silence between them felt heavier than before. Alex wanted to speak, but he did not know where to begin. Finally, he said softly, "You saved me again." "Why?" Kalira's gaze lingered on him. "I already told you. I cannot explain it. Logic says you are one among many, but my actions say otherwise." She paused. "When you are in danger, my choices change. I choose you." The word struck Alex deeply. He opened his mouth to reply, but before he could, the door chimed. A group of staff officers entered, their expressions stern. "Kalira of the Ilyari," one said, "you are summoned to the command office. There are questions about your actions during the attack." Alex stood. "She saved me. She saved others too. Why question her?" The officer gave him a sharp look. "Because some believe her choices were not consistent with her people's discipline. We must be certain there is no hidden motive." Kalira did not protest. She simply stood and followed. Alex wanted to go with her, but the officers refused. He was left behind, his heart heavy with worry. That night felt endless. Alex paced the room, imagining what they might say to her, what they might accuse her of. When Kalara finally returned, her face was unreadable. "What happened?" Alex asked quickly. "They doubt me," she said quietly. "They believe I risked too much for you. They think it was weakness." Alex's chest tightened. "Weakness? That's not weakness. That's strength. You protected someone who needed you. Isn't that what matters?" Kalira's eyes softened for just a moment. "To you, perhaps. To them, it is dangerous. They fear I'm changing." Alex stepped closer, his voice firm. "Maybe change is not bad. Maybe it's what makes you more than what they expect." For a long moment, they stood in silence. Then Kalira said, "The enemy will attack again. And when they do, choices will have to be made. Difficult choices." The following week proved her words true. The invaders returned, this time stronger. The Academy ordered all non-combatants to evacuate, but the evacuation turned into chaos. Ships overloaded, corridors jammed, and fear spread faster than orders could. Alex and Kalira were caught in the middle of it. As they rushed toward the hangar, explosions rocked the station again. A section of the ceiling collapsed, cutting off the path. Students screamed, trapped on the wrong side. Alex and Kalira stood near the debris, smoke rising around them. "We can't leave them," Alex shouted. Kalira's eyes darted over the wreckage. It was dangerous, unstable, but she did not hesitate. She moved forward, lifting heavy beams with her wounded arms, ignoring the pain. Alex joined her, pulling at smaller pieces. Together, slowly, they cleared a narrow path. The trapped students crawled through, gasping with relief. But then, another blast shook the corridor. More debris crashed down, pinning Alex's leg beneath a steel bar. He cried out, struggling to free himself. "Go!" Alex shouted. "The station is collapsing. Get out." Kalira's silver eyes burned. She dropped to her knees, her hands gripping the bar. She pulled with all her strength, muscles trembling, blood dripping from her wounds. The debris shifted slowly, painfully. "You'll die if you stay," Alex shouted again. Her voice shook, but her words were clear. "Then I die, but I will not leave you." With one final cry of effort, she lifted the bar enough for Alex to drag himself free. He gasped, his chest heaving as she nearly collapsed beside him. Other students stared in shock. None of them could believe what they had just seen. And Ilyari, known for cold logic, had risked her life again and again for a human. Alex helped her to her feet. His heart pounded not just from fear, but from the truth he could no longer deny. She was not acting from logic. She was acting from something deeper, something the galaxy had claimed her people could never feel. And as they staggered toward the evacuation bay together, Alex knew one thing. The galaxy was wrong. The evacuation bay was chaos itself. Smoke hung in the air, alarms blared, and humans and aliens scrambled toward the ships. Alex's legs still ached from being trapped under the debris, but he ignored the pain. Kalira was beside him, bleeding. Her strength nearly gone, yet she moved with purpose, guiding him through the crowd. "Stay close," she said. Her voice quiet but firm. Alex nodded, his eyes scanning the bay. Several ships were already full, others damaged, and a group of hostile scouts had broken through the outer gates. Panic threatened to take over, but Kalira's presence kept him focused. Her determination was a shield stronger than the metal doors around them. Suddenly, one of the scouts raised a weapon and aimed at Alex. Without hesitation, Kalira stepped forward. She shoved him behind a crate and lunged at the attacker. The scout tried to fire, but she knocked the weapon aside and struck him down with a powerful kick. Alex's breath caught in his throat. He had seen her fight before, but now she was putting everything on the line, refusing even a second of hesitation. "Alex, move," she shouted, motioning to a nearby ship. He followed, limping but determined. The ship's ramp lowered and other students scrambled aboard. Kalira scanned the bay, ensuring no one else was in immediate danger. Then she ran toward a group of trapped younger students. Alex felt a surge of admiration and fear all at once. Her kind was supposed to follow logic, not compassion. Yet here she was, choosing to save them, risking herself again. "Come on, hurry," she urged, lifting a student to safety and leading them to the ship. Alex ran after her, helping where he could. Every second felt like an eternity as the bay shook from distant blasts. Finally, the group reached the ship. The ramp was closing and a small scout fired a shot at the door. Kalira grabbed Alex's arm and pulled him inside just as the ramp sealed shut. The ship shuddered violently, engines roaring to life. Alex sank to the floor, gasping for air. Kalira collapsed beside him, her body trembling from exhaustion and injuries. "You did it," Alex said, his voice shaking. "You save to everyone." Kalira's silver eyes met his, filled with a strange intensity. I did what I had to. Not because it is logical, but because it mattered. Alex reached out, taking her hand gently. It matters to me. It matters to all of us. The ship soared into the safety of the upper orbit, leaving the chaos of the station behind. Alex looked down at the burning hull, the scorched corridors, the debris scattered like broken memories. He could not believe they had survived. And he could not believe how Kalira had acted, fearless, relentless, and selfless. As the ship glided through space, the pilot announced that they had escaped the immediate danger, but that the station would need reinforcement and repairs. Students murmured among themselves, relief and exhaustion mingling in their voices. Alex stayed close to Kalira, helping her sit more comfortably. I thought your people didn't feel this way, Alex said softly. I thought you were all supposed to be cold. Kalira looked down at her hand, then back at him. Ilyari are taught that emotions are weaknesses, but I do not always agree. When I see someone in danger, when I see someone I care for, I feel something I cannot name. Perhaps it is love. Perhaps it is something else. But it is real. Alex's heart pounded. He had always hoped for connection, for trust. But this was beyond what he had imagined. He squeezed her hand gently. Whatever it is, I'm glad you feel it. Because I feel it too. They spent the rest of the journey in silence, a quiet understanding growing between them. The other students were asleep or resting, but Alex and Kalira stayed awake, their hands still intertwined. Every glance, every small movement carried meaning. The galaxy may have believed aliens could not feel human emotions, but here was proof to the contrary. When they finally approached a safe station, the commander of the evacuation greeted them. Remarkable work, he said, scanning the group. Some of you acted with courage beyond training. Special commendations will be made. Alex's thoughts immediately went to Kalira. She had saved him, the students, and even herself by her courage and quick thinking. Yet he knew she would receive no credit for the emotional choices she had made. The ones the galaxy said were impossible. He felt a quiet pride. She had acted not because of orders, not because of rules, but because she had chosen to care. As the students disembarked, Alex helped Kalira onto solid ground. She leaned slightly on him, her injuries evident but her spirit unbroken. They walked together toward the shelter station, each step a testament to what they had survived and what they had learned. I never thought anyone could inspire me, Kalira said finally, her voice soft, almost shy. Humans, you show me something different. Something I do not understand fully, yet it moves me. Alex smiled, his chest swelling with warmth. That's what humans do. We survive, we fight, and sometimes we care so much that we risk everything for someone else. Kalira's eyes softened, and for the first time, Alex saw a vulnerability in her expression that went beyond pain or exhaustion. It was trust. It was connection. And it was something he would never forget. The galaxy might have doubted aliens could feel love, doubt humans could inspire it, but in that moment, both were proven wrong. And Alex knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he and Kalira would face them together. The evacuation station buzzed with activity. Humans and aliens alike moved quickly, repairing ships, distributing supplies, and helping the wounded. Alex walked beside Kalira, supporting her as her injuries slowed her pace. Despite the pain and exhaustion, she remained alert, scanning the area with sharp silver eyes that missed nothing. Alex glanced at her and smiled. You should rest. You've done enough. Kalira shook her head slightly. Rest can wait. Others need guidance. I must ensure everyone is safe. Alex's chest tightened. He had seen her fight. He had seen her risk herself countless times, and now he realized that her bravery went beyond instinct. She had chosen to care repeatedly, even when it was dangerous. No one could deny it, yet the galaxy might never understand it. As they moved through the station, they saw students pointing and whispering. Many humans and aliens had heard of Kalira's actions during the attack. They had seen her save lives, protect the vulnerable, and act with courage beyond what anyone expected. Alex noticed the way some aliens' mouths fell open, unable to reconcile the Ilyari's actions with the cold, logical reputation of her species. A commander approached them, his uniform slightly torn from earlier chaos. Kalira, Alex, he said. You both showed extraordinary courage. You have my respect, and so do the survivors. You've proven something important today. Kalira inclined her head slightly. I acted as needed. It was necessary, Alex smiled faintly. Necessary, yes, but it was more than that. You risked yourself because you chose to care. That's not just necessary. That's remarkable. The commander nodded. Indeed, humans often inspire loyalty and courage. You've demonstrated that clearly, Kalira. And Alex, your trust and support strengthened her resolve. The bond between you both made the difference. Alex looked at Kalira. Her silver eyes met his, softer now, filled with something he could not name. It was not just pride or relief. It was connection, a silent understanding that ran deeper than words. Later, when the station settled into calm, Alex and Kalira found a quiet room. The chaos of alarms and smoke felt like a distant memory. They sat together, their hands brushing, neither needing to speak immediately. For Alex, it was a moment to finally breathe. For Kalira, it was a moment to reflect on something new, something that human words could not fully explain. I never thought I could feel this way, Kalira admitted finally, her voice low, almost shy. My people, they believe emotions cloud judgment, but when I think of you, I feel something that is not logic, something I cannot define, yet it drives me to act. Alex's heart pounded. That's exactly what it is. That feeling, whatever you call it, is why we do what we do. Love, care, trust. Humans aren't perfect, but we fight for each other, and we inspire others to do the same. Kalira looked at him, searching his face. For the first time, she did not hesitate. Then you are my inspiration, Alex. I have acted because of you. Not because it is required, but because I care for you. Alex swallowed, his emotions rising. And I care for you too. More than I ever expected. You've changed everything I believed about your people, about the galaxy, about what is possible. She inclined her head, a faint softness in her expression that seemed almost like a smile. Perhaps I am not like others of my kind. Perhaps that is the lesson humans have taught me, that feelings, even if they are messy or dangerous, can make one stronger. Alex laughed quietly, a mixture of relief and joy. I think that's the first lesson most humans learn too, but you've taken it farther than anyone I've ever known. The days that followed were quieter, but the story of Kalira's courage spread across the station. Students spoke in hushed tones about the Ilyari who defied expectation, who risked everything for a human. The galaxy might have said aliens could not feel love, but the proof was clear. Alex and Kalira spent time together, rebuilding trust, sharing meals, and slowly recovering from their injuries. Every glance, every touch reminded them of what they had survived and what they had discovered about each other. The bond between them had grown into something deeper than survival. It was respect, admiration, and perhaps even love. One evening, as they watched the stars from the observation deck, Alex spoke softly. You know, everyone said aliens don't feel love. They were wrong. You proved them wrong. You proved that it can exist even in a place where people say it cannot. Kalira's silver eyes reflected the starlight. Perhaps it is not just love. Perhaps it is the courage to care, even when it is forbidden or dangerous. Humans, you show me that. You inspire me to be more than I thought I could be. Alex reached for her hand, holding it gently. And you inspire me too. You've shown me that bravery isn't just about fighting. It's about choosing to act when it matters most, even if the world doubts you. They sat together, the galaxy vast and quiet around them. The battles had tested them, pushed them to the edge, and yet they had survived, not just physically, but together, stronger than before. In that moment, it didn't matter what anyone else believed about aliens, about humans, or about love. What mattered was the bond they had forged, the courage they had shown, and the understanding that even in the darkest times, care and connection could light the way. The galaxy was wide, full of uncertainty, but Alex and Kalira knew one thing. They would face whatever came next together. And in that, humanity and perhaps even alien kind had won a small, powerful victory.